With millions of square miles of lush, arable land and plentiful supplies of water, Nigeria has the potential to become one of Africa's leading breadbaskets. According to President Goodluck Jonathan, Nigeria can no longer continue to be a sleeping giant. We have to wake up. And if we wake up, we must begin to do things differently. In the spirit of this declaration, President Jonathan's goal was to do agriculture differently and to root out decades of corruption that had deprived millions of Nigerian farmers of an opportunity to make a decent living.
We know those that want Nigeria to constantly be a slave, importing rice from other countries. We will not be a slave. We will feed ourselves with pride.
With agriculture in decline and explosive population growth, Nigeria had become a net importer of food. It is for this reason that in 2011, President Goodluck Jonathan made Nigeria's agricultural transformation agenda a centerpiece of his reform program.
Our goal is to use agriculture as a springboard for Nigeria's industrialization. That is why we have taken a full value chain approach in the development of the agricultural sector.
Even though rice is a staple Nigerian diet that grows plentifully in all the country's 6 geographical zones, urban demand for a polished, stone-free and odorless product has made Nigeria the world's second-largest importer of rice after China.
Nigeria does not need to import one single grain of rice. Instead, we should be exporting.
Nigerians consume 5 million tons of rice a year, of which 3 million metric tons are produced locally.
Nigeria spends 365 billion naira every year importing rice. If we continue with this particular trend, we will have to spend $55 billion importing rice by 2050, which of course we cannot afford. So that's why the president decided that we must launch a rice transformation agenda to make Nigeria self-sufficient in rice by 2015.
In recent decades, local producers of rice have seen their market share dwindle. The absence of a value chain has allowed large foreign mills to take advantage of the situation at the expense of local farmers. To ensure that farmers can access fertilizer and quality high-yield seeds, the administration had to tackle a decades-old corrupt system.
They never go to the farmers. Never go to the farmers. Some were even exported back to where they were imported. It was as bad as that. It was the biggest scandal in this country, fertilizer.
The fertilizer business here, for way too long, for 40 years, it was all done by government. The government will buy fertilizer and seed and distribute fertilizer and seeds across the country. We were actually subsidizing corruption. We were not subsidizing farmers.
To ensure that fertilizer and seeds reach farmers across the length and breadth of Nigeria, the federal government developed what is now known as GES, the Growth Enhancement Scheme. Using an electronic wallet, GES allows farmers to purchase seeds, fertilizer and other input directly from suppliers at a government-subsidized rate. With the Growth Enhancement Scheme, each farmer receives one free 50-kilogram bag of improved Faro 44 rice seeds and 3 bags of fertilizer at a 50% subsidy.
We registered 10 million farmers this year. Next year, we will register another 4.5 million farmers.
Hajiya Ladi Baladi is one of millions of Nigerian farmers who have benefited from the government's Growth Enhancement Scheme since 2011.
Bambanci kaga dai na ƙara gonaki, na sai gona, kuma na sai hege uku, na sai wasu 'yan dabbobi, in ci da yaran ga marayu, in shayar da su wani ya sheko in taimaka mai cikin jankan Allah.
Her farm was the best looking farm. In all, you have 11,000 hectares there, but her farm was the best looking farm. From that 1 hectare, she's taking care of 23 orphans. She told me, Minister, I just built a house. It's not a huge house, but it's a mud house, but it's a house. I have a shelter over my, here for myself and the family, and we are fine. She is one of those people that project to you what happens when you empower women.
Following devastating floods in 2012, the federal government has made the accelerated cultivation of dry season rice a priority.
We took that opportunity to see how we could use our floodplains to cultivate rice. And we had a lot of encouragement, practical support in terms of free seedling, free fertilizer, support for subsidized tractors, and now, we are smiling.
This is the first time we have a massive production of dry season rice paddy in the country, and I am sure it has become part of the cropping calendar of the country.
People are making money. The farmers are making money. The private sector is making money. The person selling seed and fertilizer is making money. The person milling the rice and processing cassava is making money. A lot of our processors say that, they can't find paddy. I'm like, where have you been? Where are you? Look at it. Everywhere you look, you find paddy. You've been coming here for 47, 45 kilometers. All you see is paddy. So I want it to be known to the rice processors that federal government will subsidize the cost of transport to move the rice from these heavy rice producing areas to where their own mills are.
With input from the federal government, thousands of farmers have been given land to cultivate dry season rice. Some new farmers are former political and commercial thugs, and many are physically challenged.
You can see now we don't have leg. We don't have leg. I see no reason why somebody that are well healthy that will not come to farm and say, let me come and do this thing. Look at us, we don't have leg. But you see enter here, enter the farm, we'll participate. And now it's more better than others.
With an average yield of 4 tons per hectare, an estimated 264,000 hectares helped produce a record-breaking 1 million tons of paddy rice in 2013.
Now, to understand that, you got to understand that the total amount of paddy, additional paddy, rice paddy we need to be self-sufficient as a country by 2015, according to the policy announced by Mr. President, is 3.2 million metric tons of paddy. Now, we did 1.1 million metric tons of paddy in just one dry season. We're still going into the main season now, and the dry season of this year will go again. And the president is very excited about it. I think it was a great move on his part and support us to do the dry season.
Cultivating rice in sufficiently large enough quantities to meet local demand is just one part of a long-term value chain strategy. Abdullahi Idris Zuru is the project manager of Labana Mills in Burning Kebbi.
We are expecting to employ a minimum of 3,500 people. It will be possible with Labana Mills and others to take Nigeria into the league of rice exporting countries. Here in Labana, we have 2 plants in one place. It's essentially meant for production of parboiled rice. Each of the plants has the capacity of processing 8 tons of paddy per hour. Put together, we are expecting, or we will, at the end, when we start production, process 18 tons per hour in this mill. And we hope to produce up to 22 to 23 hours per day.
Officials at Labana and other mills admit that without the success of the dry season rice initiative, it would be impossible to meet their production goals.
The rice revolution that has been unleashed in the dry season across 10 states in the northern part of this country is a clear demonstration that our farmers, if well supported, can feed Nigeria and even beyond.
The Nigerian government's plan is simple. Using agriculture to accelerate economic growth, The plan is to grow food, create jobs, and create wealth.
Agriculture has the power of creating jobs more than any single sector that we have in the country, especially jobs that impact on the people. When you create jobs and you create hope, it deals with a lot of that, and that's why we are actually going to do more of this. You will see the president invest more in this particular area, especially in the north. It's all about an economic Marshall Plan for the north, and we'll make it work.
All of this, we must thank Mr. President, because it's his program. We are just copying it, and whatever they have promised, they are giving. So we just thank God as a nation that we have this phase of our development where we are focusing on agriculture.
This is one president that is very calm, is very compassionate, very courageous, and it gives you quite a lot of leeway to do the best thing in the public interest. And I very much appreciate that. He's a remarkable leader, and I believe Nigerians should give me a lot of credit for the transformation you see in the agricultural sector today, because without his support, we won't be having the successes we are having.
Nigeria's current agricultural revolution is already attracting major international and local investors and partners. Dominion Farms in Kenya and the United States Cargill, the world's second-largest food producer, are actively working towards tapping Nigeria's massive agricultural potential.
That's what I'm talking about, producing it here, unlocking the power of Nigeria as a global powerhouse in food.
As Nigeria enters its second dry season planting initiative under President Goodluck Jonathan, millions of Nigerian farmers recognize that the status quo has changed. The shackles of fertilizer theft have been broken. The future is bright, and that there is no reason why agriculture cannot overtake crude oil exports and become Nigeria's new black gold.